Zion is someplace that you achieve. It's not someplace you go to. Okay? And they said that boy was born. He was the one last members born in Zion. And the only two people that were actually born in Zion were who? The two brothers. The two brothers. Ah. Now remember when he tried to jump? Remember when he jumped? What was it that they said? No, he couldn't do it. But what did what's the name say?
None of them make it the first time.
Everybody falls the first time.
None of them make it the first time.
What does that mean? It means that every time the Creator begins to bring about the concept or perception of itself as man, it falls. Everybody falls the first time.
Everybody falls the first time. Fall.
All right? Now, the system is the enemy. Remember, the people are part of the system. The very people we are trying to save is the enemy until they wake up. Remember when he was inside? Now, that's why I tell you folks, be careful when you're out there talking to certain people. Because the very people you think you want to leg up, especially family members, because they're the ones give you the worst time. They want to come and save you. Beat you on the head with the Bible. Boy, you've been dealing with them heathens again. Now, remember when he said he walked up on him, when Neo came up on him, and the guy who was the one who turned out to be the evil one was named who? Cypher. Put a little Lou in front of it. All right, now wake up, people. Lucifer. Now, you have to remember that the word games that are going on, the words that's being played on your head, if you're not paying attention, you don't see what's going on, okay? You have to understand, he was Judas. And Judas essentially was the symbol of, Judas was the symbol of cancer. Because it is cancer at the point where the sun is exalted in Aries. As it goes into Cancer, it begins its fall. So it is betrayed at that point. So Judas is Cancer, and that's where the betrayal happens. Or essentially, that's when the specific spin of the earth starts the descent of the sun in the southern sky. So essentially, you're watching Lucifer, who essentially played Judas, who betrayed everyone, essentially betrayed the Redeemer at the time, who was, and you remember at the time he was about to put out the lights of the sun, and that, what do you call it, he now is banished. Lucifer was banished, he was killed off by who? Tank. Okay, now when we get to that point, let me get to this point, I want to get to this thing first. Everybody falls the first time. Man fell his first time. The system is the enemy, the people are part of the system. When Neo crept up on Cypher, what did he say? See, I know it's what he said. Yeah, he said, God, you scared the bejesus out of me. Remember Bar Jesus? Who was Bar Jesus? Yes. Yes. Okay, right. There are two Jesuses in the Bible. There's a Bar Jesus and there's a Jesus. Now, nobody knows who the hell Bar Jesus is. Now, obviously Mary Magdalene didn't just go for forgiveness. People didn't understand who Mary Magdalene was supposed to be. Mary Magdalene was the expression. Mary was the virgin, untouched. It had nothing to do with what do you call it? Magdalene was Mary of the world. She was the elements being used and focused into the dynamic of creation. All right? Mary just stayed a virgin, supposedly. She's just what was the material used to create the quote Jesus seed. But you scared the Bar Jesus out of me. All right? After 9 years, he realizes that ignorance is bliss. Remember when he had the meeting with the searchers? He said, after how many years? 9 years, number of completion. He has made his full cycle. Lucifer now has been redeemed. His class was kept. He made his pact to be redeemed. He's out of there now. He brought light. They brought him in. Remember he said that Morpheus brought him in and told him he was the one in the whole 9 yards? Well, he came down and he was living in ignorance. He wants to go back into ignorance. Okay? Now, the oracle is a black woman. Let's get to the oracle one time. Come on with the black woman. When he went in, who was in there with him? Children. Something missing. All of the potential. She was the one in the kitchen. She is the creatrix. She is the one who takes all the raw materials and creates the nourishment, the sustenance. She is the one that feeds all humanity. She gives them their reason to be. She tells them what they need to do. In everything that you have done, everything that you have written about your ancestors, they've always gone to an oracle. And the oracle has always told you what it is that you were slated for. All the time. And invariably it was a woman. Because for your earthly mission, it was the woman who, essentially being in touch with all the elements, being who she was the one who knew what the earth had in store for you, helped you to remember why you came back, who you were, used to tell you what ancestor you were.
Yep.
So when she came back and the oracle initiative, the oracle told me things changed my life. Well, essentially it was the feminine principle, the feeling principle. Okay? The feeling principle that's missing from everything that you're doing here. When the police snatched him and started beating him like Rodney King, all right? Cypher was the traitor, loose Cypher. Let me run down. I don't want to get to questions. Neo believes he can bring Orpheus back. Every mammal develops. Now, check this out. Did you notice what he said? Now, check this out. I didn't remember this thing. The searcher, or the one who was seeking, or the man with the glasses, said every animal develops a natural equilibrium with its environment except man. Man is not exactly a mammal. This is what he says. Somehow, man ain't exactly a mammal because mammals tend to work in synergy with their environment. Man does not. So man is something above a mammal. Or, as he said, man is a virus. Now, the only time you see a virus underneath your, a virus looks white to me. Anytime you look at
I can't take your call right now. Please try again later.
Look at a cancer cell, and it is pure white.
Yep.
I'm not about being nice. I'm about being real. You know, I don't hate nobody. I can't hate nobody for who they are. You know?
Stupid.
When the program is called it is uploaded, then the X button is pushed again. Every time you look at the situation, you check out the X button is pushed. He dies and he resurrects. It reverses the Sleeping Beauty. She kisses him back alive. Okay? Check it out. Alright, he's comatose, he's dead, he's gone. Says no to the illusion, creates his own reality at the end. Now he is Neo, he's the one. The brother speaks to who he is. He says he's the one. Gives into illusion, illusion implodes. Now remember, what did he do to destroy his nemesis? He became him. So when you merge with the beast and you understand the beast, there is nothing he can do. He can't hide from you, he cannot destroy you. Now, at the end, you got the dates. In the first one, remember I said it was 9/18 or 3/29. Wait a minute, hold on, let me get that first date. I want you to look at it. 2/1998. Alright? At the last point, when you go up, you see the word 9/1899. Alright, that's the date. After he's become the savior of the world, it comes in 9/1899. Under that, you see 3/29/98. Now, when they focus in on the part where it says systems failure, remember when he's saying, I'm going to tell everybody who you are, I'm blowing this whole lid off? I wish I need to have... Okay, just picture this. There are a series of all these numbers, and the camera is zooming in on one place that says systems failure. And right where the camera zooms in, it says 3/29/98, 360. Right under 360, you see the word failure. Okay? Now, what is significant of 360 degrees? The circle, the cipher. All the brothers and sisters who are dealing with 7 know what I'm talking about. The cipher, the feminine principle, 360 degrees circle of knowledge. This paradigm, this reality, it has right underneath it, failure. Now, the first date was 2/1998. And I'm going to close this out to start the questions. The first date, 2/1998. The last date they flashed up was 9/18/99. You subtract it, reverse it, subtract, it comes out 7/01/01. So I'm saying this to you, beloved brothers and sisters, today in 1999, the year of the lie. July 1st, 2001. Check for that date. If you have a calendar that shoots you forward that far, check the date, because again, the first number given, 2/1998, the last number given, 9/18/99, you subtract the one from the other, you get 7/01/01. So the date, July 1st, 2001, is going to be a serious date. Why? Simply because that's the time when the Illuminati was supposed to, actually hold the elections. That's the time of beneficence. But they moved the elections to November, so they put you under the sign of Scorpio, so that only your emotions deal now. That's why you don't elect anybody. You essentially choose somebody who seems to look good on television. You deal with your emotions, whereas you would have dealt with your heart, with your empathy, if you were voting under another sign. So they moved it over to November purposefully. Now, July is a time when it's supposed to be Independence Day. Something is getting ready to fall. Look for cosmological phenomenon. Look for earth changes or phenomenons. Look for wars. Look for certain stuff. Or look for the second coming. I don't give a shit. But that date is significant in some way, huh? It's a Sunday? Oh, great. First day of the month. All right, so like I said, you look forward, whatever's going on. If you have an ephemeris or a calendar that tells you what is in conjunction, what planets are going on, what's going on there, check with your what do you call those places, observatories, to see what star systems are coming into play at that time. All right? And with that, remember it says 3/29/98 systems, right underneath that word, systems in the movie. It says 3/29/98. You should go back and find out what happened at that date. And right under number 360 degrees says failure. Now with that, I did not want to get too deeply into it, because for what I needed to say about Matrix, I had to show you. There were certain symbols and things inside of there that I'm just talking on the top of my head, so I just ran it down. Maybe we're going to go into part 2, and then we can deal with that from there. At this point right now, I'll close down the dissertation and open the floor for questions. Thank you. You can step up on the questions. Any questions about anything you want to do with health, consciousness, whatever it is. And who gives a royal? We're going to go past that. We're going to put our own presidency up. Yeah. Yeah, I was trying to find that title. He shot that by so fast. It says something to do with morphium something. I guess the change of time, or time change, something like that. But he kept all of his little contraband inside of this book. Yeah. Okay, symbol like him. Okay, synchronicity and symbol. Oh, great. Thank you for me. Yeah, that's serious. Synchronicity and symbol. Well, all of life is a symbol. A tree is a symbol.
No.
It's just dealing with a dynamic, an expression dynamic of the planet. The tree is the nerves of the planet. Hey, beloved. Peace. Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah. Okay. Well, May 5th, 2000 has been this date that has been blown up what the Kemetic calendar, quiet as it's kept. They're dealing with a Kemetic calendar for an alignment, a planetary alignment, a Sirius alignment, and an Orion alignment with the Great Pyramids. Now, the Great Pyramids, essentially you see the alignment of the Queen's Chamber and the King's Chamber. They're aligned specifically to Orion and to Sirius and Reticuli. Wait, which one? Reticuli or I forgot the other. I'm gonna do something on the Great Pyramids also. But Orion and the Sirius star system, during that time, May 5th, quote unquote, 2000, there is an alignment. Remember, they're not using our calendar. The calendar you're using is screwed up. This Gregorian crap that they're going through is a convolution of Christianity. It was set up around some pope saying, you know, Constantine and the rest of them saying, yo, this is year one. I mean, we've been here how long? 175,000 years. They want to start year one around their conquest. But again, remember that the Gregorian calendar and what you're dealing with is not the calendar that they're using in order to deal with earth-based changes and phenomenon. They're giving you that date to coincide with the reality zone that you're functioning in. But they're dealing with a whole other calendar, cosmological, sidereal, extraplanetary calendar that has nothing to do with your reality. So the May 5th, 2000 is an artificial date. We're already in the actually energy dynamic for that May 5th, 2000 situation. Long before that. We hit that long before time. Yeah. Long before. Yes, sir.
I want to ask you about cellular phones and why would you use cellular phones? Can you give me a little in-depth history on that? Okay.
The cellular phone has an output, a frequency output that interferes with certain electrical impulses, neuronal impulses. What it does is the low frequency waves and pulses it gives off causes you to become hyper. You pick up, you speak faster, you think clearer. But what it does is it artificially rushes certain cells through the brain at a faster pace based upon the input of that electrical pulse in the brain. It forces your brain to work faster, but it also kills cells at a faster rate. All right? Because you think faster, you think clearer, you speak faster, but then it's just like anything that you agitate, anything that you invigorate, anything that you irritate, there is a sacrifice of cells for that higher performance. Okay, so be very mindful if you do have cellular cellular, but don't overuse them. Okay? Well, yeah, it can cause cancer if your body and your brain is functioning with a lot of filth. Your body will always defend itself from artificial or adverse waveforms. But if you do not take care of the body so that it can, yes, it may bypass the defenses that you do have and cause problems in the long run. Okay. Yes, sister. That's a boo.
How does the medical system's treatment of cancer with radiation and chemotherapy, how does that relate to what you were saying about the genetic engineering of people that they're doing, how to do that?
That's a very good question. Who we are at this time and how we have become, I guess, again, medical science has been functioning for how long? About 150, 200 years? And they have essentially terraformed us to the point where we now function based upon how our people have degenerated over those 200 years. So diseases that we have today are actually the deteriorated health that we have. So they keep redefining health according to the amount of diseases that come up as a result of medical science. So medical science keeps redefining health. Now, with all of the introduction of these aggressive means to fight a perceived enemy, that's the problem. Medical science believes that they're fighting a perceived enemy when they set up the medical protocols for so-called therapy, or what is that, not diagnosis, treatment. Radiation essentially is the quintessential collateral damage mechanism. It kills everything in its path. It's like, let's hope to get Saddam Hussein, let's carpet bomb and hope we kill enough. So you kill about 5,000-10,000 people trying to get this one person. That's the specific mentality of medicine. What it would do is essentially create a memory in the cells. When you feed the cellular network, when you change the frequency, or when you input a different frequency in the form of chemotherapy, in the form of radiation, the cells now have to defend themselves, and they create a memory of defense in the body. What they do also is they do not completely heal. No disease is completely healed. That memory is carried on in the cellular structure, because if you interfere with the unburdening process we spoke about, that interference now creates another burden. So the introduction of chemotherapy, the introduction of all these heroic forms of drugging you, creates another kind of karmic memory that the cellular structure now has to unburden in another life. So the more drugs you take when you're dealing with this crap, more medicines that you take in your body, the more the cells have to acclimate to this new invasion. This is the imposition that we spoke about earlier. The imposition of these genetic altering things that causes the burden to be forced. In other words, you take a pill for a headache, you don't get rid of the headache, you heighten the body's ability to not feel it. But the headache and the cause for the headache stays. The same way you repress the threshold. If the person is getting rid of cancer, cancer does not kill, beloved. Let's just get that straight, and I'm telling the brothers and sisters out there. Cancer does not kill. It only begins to kill when we override the directives of the body in its attempt to isolate the problem. When you have a problem in your body, the doctor looks at the problem, he now goes in, he takes a test, he punctures or destroys the encasement that the body created to defend itself with, and now the shit spreads and you wonder why. He diagnoses that the body has somehow isolated this. You got a cancer, look out, you're going to die. If I don't do this, it's metastasizing. Not telling you that that is the containment dynamic that consciousness, divine intelligence, created for itself. The body never kills itself. Every disease is an attempt of the body to isolate the problem. All diseases are short-termed. They are body-generated for the purpose of realigning the body back to health. Anytime you interfere with that process, you create a secondary burden. And then the body has to deal with that later on down the line. That's the best I can tell you, sister. Thanks. Yes, beloved.
Why do you dislike King Akhenaten? Can you speak with me?
Well, I dislike what he tried to do, but I don't dislike him. The fact that he wanted to destroy all of the gods, in other words, take away what it is that God recognized of itself. There is no one thing operating in any dynamic in reality. All of what you see is God. So there are different principles at work. There are different functions at work within God. We didn't worship gods. That's nonsense. That's what they want you to think. We were scientific. We dealt with principles. And these principles were adhered to. These principles were given homage through respect, actually, rather than homage. They were given respect. So when you erect different animals, these animals were condensed versions of certain principles based on their behaviorisms. So they weren't gods to be worshipped. They were principles. When that happened, Akhenaten said, forget all of the specific dynamics that God expresses itself as. Forget all the names, forget all the principles, all is one. Now, when you've done that, you have centralized consciousness and therefore taken the state and allowed the state to take over or to centralize a particular brand of thought that allows you to only see one thing based upon your perception. But remember, the dynamics of Kemetu energies and understanding of the dynamics of all light came from a succession, an evolution of the science of being. So I know that my left arm is not my right. I know that my right arm is not my left foot. This is what they meant. If you say this is all one thing, then the functioning dynamic that we were created to recognize and represent is taken away. You centralize God, it becomes a state instrument, like it is now, and And now you no longer have the divinity. Plus, you just wipe out a whole section of people that, you know, it was political as well. Yeah, but you see, you can't deal with the whole because we're not in the whole right now. We are in the many. When God takes on the physical form, the many is the whole.
Yep.
You see, when you start dealing, unity cannot understand duality as unity. Unity is only unity. The only way unity understands itself is through duality. When duality is represented as itself, when it does the two dynamics of male and female, yin and yang, positive and negative, we understand the dynamics of unity in that way. So understanding unity in the realm of duality gives us a better perspective because we see the unity in all of its dynamic expressions. If you take that and say, well, this is all one, when you say, okay, now, does that become expressed to one? All right, well, if that's all the one, you start dealing with generations from now, they have no clue because you've destroyed all the reasons for the one. Who are all the one? What does Enpu mean? Who is Heru? What is Ast? What is Heteru? These are dynamic expressions of the multifaceted personalities that constitutes the one you. The one you, yes. But the one you is not the one now. All of what we are enjoying is essentially the many as the one. But to come around and say that the one thing is all there is, you immediately destroy the fact that we are here to understand the many.
Yes. Yes.
You see what I'm saying?
That's why I love you more than you love you. Because I get what the truth is in me.
Yes.
Because me is we, being all one conscious thinking people. The separation is just from few people wanting to be rulers over all the people. That is the bullshit, people.
So, how can you tell a genetically engineered food or genetically altered food?
This is when you have to get into the subtle sciences, sister. This is where I teach people how to use the pendulum.
Okay, and I have another question. I was watching one of your videos, and you were speaking about a calendar which is specifically dealt with the oscillation or the moon cycle.
Yes.
So I was wondering if you could give me some names or types of calendars, not necessarily specifically with the moon, but on in any realm that would help me to move more in the direction within the universe, looking at the universe in terms of calendar.
I'm not sure what the question means, but I would tell you that if you're looking for anything doing around the moon, is that specific?
Yeah, in one of your past videos, I read that if you named a calendar which dealt with the cycle of the moon.
The Dendera? Okay, was it the Dendera? Okay, I'll have to find that out for you one more time. As far as you dealing with anything that has to do with the moon, are you under the moon? Are you Cancer? Okay. That's interesting. There are books by the Llewellyn publishing companies that have that. You can find them at the Fifth Avenue at the East-West bookstore, or you may be able to find them at Quest in the Village bookstores. And they moved it. Between 2nd and 3rd Avenue? Yeah. Well, they moved it because it used to be in the Village on 9th Avenue. As far as dealing with the moon, they have a lot of good books around the moon and what a cycle means. Again, it means reflection. It's to reflect. It's essentially to take the sun's beams and to actually give the ability to the pineal gland to function. The pineal gland does not function well in the sun. The sun burns up telepathic waves. It's at the nighttime that telepathic waves are proficient. So at that time, the moon is in its height, in its glory. So that's the best time to do any kind of soul searching, any type of reflecting on one's own actions. Okay? Peace, sister. Tajaku, sister.
Do you believe that man's beginning is at the mountains of the moon?
No.
Okay, well, I know you're above the physical form.
Well, Yeah, the mountains of the moon, the Kilimanjaro, and around that area, out by where they say the Nile has its source. Well, essentially, that may be where they touched down. But man did not have a beginning. That is an illusion. That's the illusion that they want you to believe is real. The real truth about man is that man never had a beginning. Man constantly keeps redefining itself. Man is the redefinition of purpose within the consciousness dynamic of involution and evolution. That's all it is. Man just keeps recreating itself. Mm-hmm.
What is the connection between, okay, I talked to people
saying all this. Nobody can believe me, but I can't read it right.
philosophy and people who are vegetarian.
Mm-hmm.
And I find some sort of bear witness or feel that they migrated west from Kemet. But I've heard one who's supposed to be a high priest or whatever say that, oh, Kemet, they only have X amount of Orisha or gods. But in Yoruba, we have over 2,000. I mean, he was very distinct. Like, there's no connection whatsoever. And they believe in their, I don't like to call it mythology, but I'll call it that for lack of a better term, that they came down to earth by way of a chain. Okay? And that's where it all began, there at the spot. Okay? I'm kind of like in a cross-up, I'm saying, you know, they said, well, our history goes like 78,000 years. Kemet is only 5,000.
Okay, that's a no. First of all, the chain that they're talking about is the DNA helix. We all came from that chain. The DNA helix. The helix. That's the chain of life. At this time, when people start bragging and believing that they were the first, it's all bullshit. We got to definitely be suspect of anybody who keeps talking about how great they were, 2,000 Orishas. I could give less of a royal shit, not to be so disrespectful. I don't care. I'll tell you the truth. I know that there is a divinity within us that expresses itself multifariously. I know that divinity is real because I am here deciphering with you. I am here with you interfacing, and I know that you are divinity. And I know that you are Orisha. I know that you are Neteru. I know that you are Nibiru. I know that you are everything that we perceive outside of ourselves. We are that. Now, not to be disrespectful for anybody practicing anything, but if you're practicing at anything, you still ain't got it right. That's one. Two, if you feel that you have to worship anything outside of yourself, rather than just give respect, then there's something wrong. That's part of the illusion. That's part of the paradigm.
Yeah, we was taught to be stupid. We was taught to be stupid. We was taught to be stupid.
You become that.
I give respect to that feeling and that be belief. But there's a dynamic beyond that.
Yes, it's
that
knowing.
Whatever it is that they're putting
it's
on
knowing.
you is ceremonially only ceremonious.
Yes.
Nothing can be put on you. Whatever you are is based upon involution. You evolve from the involutionary seed that is placed upon you based on your experiences. There is no such thing as anyone giving you spirit. That's like anybody giving you a cure. There's no cure to any damn thing. There is only healing that is done by divine intelligence.
Right.
There are many ways for you to interface and play with the dynamics that they call Orisha, with the dynamics they call Neteru, with the dynamics that they call angels. These are interfacing patterns of light and how they, through their own interfacing with the prism of life, gives you the specific color of your awareness and thus the names that you give to these things. That's all it is, sister. And until we free ourselves of bondage of belief structures, that's what keeps us in this paradigm of idiocy.
A belief system is something that you believe is going to work. But when you take the time out to know something's going to work, you took out this motherfucking time to know it.
All there many dynamics. Really, right now, I don't care because he's here. You know, you don't wonder where the cancer came from. You don't wonder where your problem came from. You want to know how to solve it. Really, the dynamics is there's no creation beyond the fact that there is degeneration. that he himself studied himself and wondered why he was so different from everything and everybody on the planet, because everything on the planet that was alive had pigmentation. He did not know why he did not have pigmentation. He deifies all animals that are white. Our ancestral peoples, the so-called natives, our indigenous peoples, used to use the white buffalo as a sign. The white buffalo simply meant that there was a change in the order. The consciousness dynamic was changing. It meant that there was the death of a paradigm. Anything that is white signifies death. It believes it is the beginning. Any death is a beginning. It is not an end. So the signal of the white buffalo was a beginning. It was the signal of a time to come. Anything white shows you that that strain is degenerating and dying. So when you see a white tiger, a white horse, or these things that come out white and pale, you know it was the degeneration of a specific species. The Caucasian essentially speaks to the degeneration of a type, a consciousness type, which you, as the melanated people, were the original, the forebearers of that. The dark people, the darkest of all the dark peoples, were black to the point of not being able to be seen. Their eyes did not have any white in them because there were no sclera. The ability to see not only physical light, but the consciousness light was denoted by the skin tone color. From the darkness came the light, but in order for the light to be able to understand itself from the darkness, it had to return to the darkness, and that's why black was created on your skin, or as your skin. So you are the best diffusers of light because of the pigment you have. And the darkest of all the darkest people were blue black, purple black, green black, yellow black. This black was the field upon which the awareness grew. It was the soil upon which consciousness grew. The level of your consciousness was denoted in the color that you radiated. That's why you could see some of the vestigial remainders of our people. You see them sometimes in Africa, the Senegalese. They're so black, they're radiating blue or even green. These were the people, the original peoples. These were the original conscious dynamic. But as it stands right now, we just brown. Where we brown from? We brown because we are scorched earth. There is no hue in the hue man anymore. The hue was what gave off the color consciousness dynamic, which connected us to those light codes that we have. Right now, we're just barren earth. There is no consciousness growing on this soil because there is no hue on the color tone. There are no tones. You understand? So right now, even though we have vestigial remainders of the color, which is fantastic, we still have the earth that can be terraformed with consciousness. You don't have the hue anymore. You have to terraform this earth, this thing. You have to change the dynamics of this earth. Change the agreement you have to function in this particular earth so that you can turn the hue that once glowed. Those are the original ones. That's the hue and the hue man. That's right. Yes, beloved.
LJT here. Just got word from the grow house.
I work with preschoolers. And although personally I have never favored microwaves, I never bought one.
Yeah.
But there's one there. And I would like to know the effects that microwaves have on our bodies, particularly small children that are 3 and 4 years old.
Yeah.
Very often, when the microwave is being used, they're directly in line with those waves.
Right.
Speak on that.
It's a very good point. I confess to be a user of microwaves at times. But I know that I have a energy dynamic that can help to put it back into check. But children, never bring them around a microwave. Definitely not around a microwave. A microwave kind of destroys food from the inside. It essentially heats from the inside. Any kind of heating is a destroying mechanism. Okay? So all of us guilty of that in heating our food. Doesn't matter whether you heat it from the outside in or the inside out. You destroy it. The microwave uses short waves, and short waves are most destructive. They heat the fastest because they come like that instead of going through it, they bombard. And what they do is when they reach to the center of it, it explodes from the inside. The microwaves explode when they hit. The idea is that's why it's spinning like that. It's hitting from all sides, and it's exploding at the center where the molecular structures are. So that's why it heats from the inside. Sometimes you can feel the top is cool, but if you reach the bottom or anytime, it's hot as heck hell when it's exploding from the inside. So it's a way of reversing destruction. You know, it's instead of heating from the outside in, it destroys from the inside. But microwaves tend to destroy linkages, DNA linkage, and they do that from shooting from those LEOs, low Earth orbiters. They have this microwave technology, which is a weapon that can destroy essentially the bonds, the hydrogen bonds and the links in the DNA. So you have to be mindful of the fact that microwaves are forms of weaponry. They are forms of inducing. As a matter of fact, they can also entrain information into your head when they are attenuated and used on a longer or more softer wave band. This is what I was going to speak to you about, dealing with artificial telepathy. Artificial telepathy uses your bones because calcium is an electrical, has an electrical ion. It feels electricity very well. That's why people who've gone and visited the pyramid sometimes hears voices, because the whole of the inside of the pyramid is based in limestone, which is calcium. So it's a very good electrical conductor, calcium. What they do is they've taken the certain wave patterns, and using your bones and your teeth in your head, they can vibrate sound by entraining it into your bones, sound and voices, to make you think that you're thinking certain thoughts, and it's not your own. So be very aware of your thinking. That's why I said at the end, you may not know whether or not you're thinking thought or whether thought is thinking you. You have to be very mindful of things that you think you're thinking, because they have done things now to be able to entrain thinking through the bones.
Yeah, because you made me scratch myself the other day, you bitch.
Electrical filter.
Scratch myself bad.
So no, be mindful of the fact that the microwave is dangerous. I know it's dangerous, and sometimes I want a quick heat for my my tofu or whatever, you know, I kick it in there. I'm guilty, you know, mea culpa. Yes, sister. Yeah. I suggest that you call. There is, I think there's an information brochure. No, better still, you can call to, what's the name of that? Try the American Natural Hygienic Society and see if they're still running, and ask them if they have information on microwaves. Or you can actually go down to one of those stores. Some of the health food stores have books that have that. Yes, brother. Okay, beautiful. See, we're all here. Barnes and Nobles, no radiation, the silent killer. There you go. Thank you so much, man. Yes. Hi.
There's a book going on right now about our DNA. There's a group of people going around saying that we're supposed to have 12 strands, and they're holding workshops and getting people, and they claim, to decode the DNA so that we can plug in. We're supposed to have 12 strands, so that we can plug in the 10 that are not plugged in right now. And I wanted to know how valid that is. I think it's something we should do.
Well, yeah, there is a movement afoot to try to resuscitate the memory that has shut down the codon links, which then gives us the spiral that is supposed to be encased. We're supposed to have 13. That's the Christ one. There are supposed to be 12, 3 helixes, and inside of those 3 is supposed to be 3, 6, 9, 4 specific light filters on a subatomic quark level that is supposed to constitute a flowering of the other 12, or the other 4 12, yeah. They're supposed to make up actually 13. It's supposed to be 12, and as the 12 works and to become one with the energy, a 13th dynamic or a halo is created, a halo of light that now becomes a ridge. Okay, so you figure, for instance, if you're seeing this thing glowing, this is comprising the 13, the 12 helixes. Then
Anyway,
it
yeah, magnetic field creates the
dynamic that creates a ridge which constitutes the 13th, the encapsulation of the Jesus. They talk about the Jesus strand. Yeah, they're dynamic, but they want to do it artificially. They want to start playing that up based upon accelerating evolution. It's called evolutionary acceleration. And by doing that, they'll tend to try to bring you or bring themselves into a space where they start dealing with interdimensional communication.
Right. So they want to change.
I
They
know
want to
that
change
there
the
is
past.
interdimensional communication. All you got to do is go into a trance. Begin to activate on that particular etheric level, and you get the same energy dynamics that you would if they were actually there. So you can go into the possession of the drums and start dancing and start filtering into other dimensions like our people do anyway. You see, you don't need to do it like the white folks need to do it. Okay, artificially we're going to grow this one strand. We're going to attach it right there. Oh, isn't that great? Okay, bring that one over there. We have the things free. It's bullshit. We don't need to do that. Know ye not that ye are gods. We are already there. Yeah. That's CIA.
They reason for wanting to get things.
Silver mind control.
Because
Yeah. I heard about Jose Silva. Jose Silva and your boy from what's the boy who sells that stuff on the streets? Huh? No, not York. Who's this white boy that trained the CIA? No. White boy that trained. He's got a book out. Dianetics. Earl Ron Hubbard.
We didn't have nothing to do with y'all.
Earl Ron Hubbard's a bad motherfucker. You're sleeping.
We didn't have nothing to do with y'all going to take them people and putting them in concentration camps either.
Oh yeah.
The Chinese after they was American.
Yeah.
Right after y'all bombed their shit, y'all put them in concentration camps.
In fact, the silver mind control was part of what they teach. That's the next level of when they're ready to initiate their military men into covert ops. Okay? Promoting what is known as remote viewing. Now, the remote viewing situation we have with ESP and espionage, most of the people who brought remote viewing to the CIA were trained by L. Ron Hubbard. Remote viewing, the same person that was out there talking some shit to your boy Art Bell, he was a Silver graduate. He was a member of L. Ron Hubbard's inner elite. Remember, you got to go through certain stages before you get into L. Ron Hubbard's close circle. And he has a council of 13. Oh yeah, remote viewing is the same thing your ancestors used to do by way of the currents. There are ways that you can set up sympathetic energies just by manifesting the name, just by putting your hand on the Bible. Like when you come to see me, people wonder, well, how is it that you know what's going on? Because I get into empathy with you. All I have to do is sit there with you for a minute, and everything about you begins to radiate in my being. Once you do that, you're talking to the spirit of the person, and that person doesn't have to say a word. People are wondering, how did you know this? The same particular dynamic, using vectors of light, using empathy, using consciousness wave patterns, using the wind, using light, using all of these, you can interface and see through people's eyes. You can interface that way. As a matter of fact, there is a web of life. That's the principle behind remote viewing and silver mind. There is a web of life that connects everything that is living and non-living. The non-living are connected in one level of strata, the living connected to another level of strata. When you tweak one part of that dynamic, you affect another part. I could take your picture right here and go to Bombay, India, and send a specific light frequency to your picture and affect you over here from Bombay. Because the filters that came together to create the image that was you is comprised of you. All right? So every picture you take, that's why some of the ancestors said, I don't want you taking my picture, you capture my soul. They're right. the light filaments that your aura gives off, that gives the picture of you, is what it is that they're actually working. And I can work with that. That's why the ancestors used to set up these dolls that had the likeness of you. And that's why they wrote those people crazy in Haiti, and why them motherfuckers had to run out of Haiti. Because they don't use their voodoo anymore. They done got Catholic. See, that's what Christianity did to your shit. It took your magic and kicked it up the ass. Until you get your magic back, you will not know who you are. You will not be interfacing with the Orishas and all the rest of these dynamics. And then once you got that understanding of it on the scientific plane, understanding on the organic plane, you ain't got to put names to shit no more. You just use mind, because the greatest civilizations on the planet, or on any planet, or on any reality, did not have any technologies.
None.
Yes, it is. So understanding energy dynamics. So silver mind control is essentially what it is, silver mind control. And it's about you focusing. Remember I was telling you about feeling? And it's taking desire and feeling, understanding the field of feeling, and then focusing it through desire. And that's what silver mind control is about. Yes, sister.
Against his beliefs. Now, I just saw a ridiculous movie last night called The Money. And there are those who have seen that movie. History has been done a flip over.
Yeah.
It was a way.
Yeah.
I knew it was supposed to be.
Yes.
But they demonized Imhotep.
Yes, they did. Yes.
I would like to know what is the reason for them deifying, not deifying, but maybe
Demonizing him. That's a good point, sister. You know, he come through Imhotep, which is very, very interesting, because essentially, interesting to note that Imhotep was the father of medicine. He was the Grand Vizier. He was the creator and the designer of the so-called step pyramids, not only here, but over in the North American continent as well, the South American continent. He essentially was so bad that the Neteru came down and took him as one of them. Because he was of a lineage, he was supposed to have been seeded by one of the Anunnaki anyway. And his mother was the one who gave him the knowledge of all of the herbs and the science of healing. As a matter of fact, Imhotep did not become a man. Imhotep was essentially a title. Just like Heru is a title. Heteru is a title. Isis is a title, is not a person. It is essentially what you ascend to based upon the quality that that particular deity represents. You wear the mantle of Ast. You wear the mantle of Heru, of Heteru, of Herukuti. All these are mantles, just like what the brother was wondering, why did he want to get rid of all the gods? These mantles were essentially what constituted the fixtures that made up the groundation or the foundation of reality. So to completely say that the pantheon does not exist and all that exists is the one was to completely destroy the balance that was created by the expression of the one thing as the many. Okay? Now, the destruction of Imhotep is necessary because medicine wants that to happen. You know, for want of a better word, the medical church or the medical temples of the West cannot see the true father of medicine, who Imhotep was, who essentially was known as Asclepius in the Greek. And Asclepius was actually the son of Hermes Trismegistus, or the so-called god called Jehudi, Thoth. And there is a good book that I think you should get called The Virgin of the World. Okay? By Maitland. In it, it has an incredible conversation between a father and his son. Asclepius is essentially Imhotep. Or Imhotep. Well, Imhotep. Yeah, the first. Actually, the first. You want to deal with the first. The son of Jehudi. Yeah, but they're not said Jehudi, it's Jehudi. That's how it's pronounced. Yeah, Toph. And what you need to do also is to read another book which is excellent called the Poimander. The Poimander. This is another book by Hermes speaking to his son. Incredible books. And you have to understand what's being said. Again, having the prerequisite in metaphysics is excellent when you're dealing with it. The Divine Poimander and the the Greek is Poimander, but it may be spelled as Pymander. And the other book is called The Virgin of the World. Excellent dialogue between Asclepius and his son, and his father, I believe. And in the Poimander, it shows you the reason for homosexuality on another spiritual tip, on a psychological tip, where the specific soul does not create on the physical realm. And as a result, it does not know its task. So the masculine principle, or the feminine principle that does not generate life, cannot understand the principle that is evoked within it through its feelings as a mother or as a father. Therefore, if it takes on another life without having that experience, it comes not understanding what it is in the next life, and therefore plays a dual role within the same body. So you have to deal with some of these things. It's deep. Of course, that particular action can be sidestepped by the beneficence that you give, the love you give to other children and all these things. But if you just coalesce by yourself and be by yourself and want to be by yourself and don't play upon that, which most women today are not doing, and most men, certain men are not doing as well, you don't understand what fatherhood is. Fatherhood is not just taking care of a child, because you don't teach the child how to be a child teaches you how to be a parent. So the child becomes the father to the man, or becomes the mother to the woman. So that's the synergy. That is the flower of life. That's the continuum that goes with the fact that we are all here on this dynamic journey, just enjoying one another. You die, go to war, you fight, you kill. You've done this before. Krishna told Arjuna, as he was standing there ready to go into battle, scared to death, he says, why are you scared? You did this so many times before, you died and come back. This is your thing. Stop worrying about death.
I know.
Leave
Stop
that
worrying about
mentality
death.
of finality,
That's bullshit.
the end of days and all that shit alone. You are a forever creature, and you keep cranking this dynamic of infinity into this beautiful blossoming body you got.
Boy, you
flower each time you come
man,
through the
quit
womb.
telling me this.
Every time you take
down
on the
here,
flesh, you got a whole new chance to unburden yourself.
Elder.
And this is what you're
And
here to
this
do
is
right
all
now.
that I'm
We've just
hearing,
unburdened
all
ourselves with the
the
realization we've
comes
exchanged
from my
today.
heart, man.
Know thyself and heal thyself, love thyself.
Oh, thank you. I love your love for loving me enough to let me know who you are and me to know me better. My free will is yours, believe that, devil. Because I'm willing towards the one and only way that's straight. And that's to create with no material motive, but for the love of the unconditional feeling of the creator that is real in you, to have any feeling or any conscience to be thinking, to knowing something that's true, not to have to be believing some bullshit that was told to you when you was a fucking kid. It is what it is. Some of us are still thinking as kids. It's time to take the responsibility of being an adult with these kids. These kids are out of control because we allow them to be out of control. Because we allow somebody else to control them. They're only kids. They're supposed to be filled with some truth. And then the control fills their hearts too. But if this is confusing to them, how can they get any kind of truth if you lying to them by telling them bullshit like Santa Claus, the Easter Bunny, and the Tooth Fairy? It is what it is, people. I love you more than you do.